I have an awesome story to read to you. And before we start our story, remember, before we even look at the book, we need to think about what we already know. We need to activate that schema that we have in our head. It's going to help us understand the story much better. So let's look at the title. Let's look at the picture on the front. And let's think about maybe what we know, what connections we might have. Okay. Christian.
The little girl wants grandma to read a book.
The little girl wants grandma to read a book. That's great. That's a good prediction of what you think is going to happen. Austin, what do you think?
The little girl went over to her grandma's for a little bit, and they wanted to read a story.
Okay. She's visiting grandma and they're reading a story. What makes you think that? Do you do that with your Nana? Yeah. Yeah, that's great. Okay. Sebastian.
Her grandma's gonna give her a surprise.
Aha, and what made you think that?
Because it says the Wednesday surprise.
The title of the story gives us a clue, doesn't it? Well, let me read to you the very first page and see if that is going to make a difference in your prediction, okay? I like surprises, but the one that Grandma and I are planning for Dad's birthday is the best surprise of all. We work on it Wednesday nights. On Wednesdays, Mom has to stay late at the office, and my brother Sam goes to basketball practice at the Y. That's when Grandma rides the bus across town to stay with me. Okay, does that spark any other thought? Austin?
It's her dad's birthday party.
Okay, Dad's birthday party. Those are some great connections, some great predictions. And now I want you to think about, have you ever taught someone to do something? Have you ever taught someone to do something? Let me tell you my story. You know that Benjamin just learned to drive. And remember, I got to teach him how to drive. So that was an experience for me. It was fun. So I remember that. What about you? What have you taught someone else to do? Sky.
Taught my sister how to tie her shoes.
Oh, how wonderful. How old's your sister?
5.
Well, it looks like we all have a lot of connection to the story. We've all taught someone something, or maybe been taught by someone else something. I want you to think about that as we read this story, okay? All right, there's one other thing. You know that I like to use lots of expressions. Like, for instance, we have a lot of irons in the fire. That means we have a lot that we're working on, that we have to do. Well, in this story, we're going to hear some expressions. Like, for instance, the little girl in this story is going to say, let's get down to business. What do you think that might mean? Let's get down to business. Zach.
Let's start working now.
Let's start working. That's right. Tomorrow, when we start writing our story for the contest, we are going to have to get down to business, aren't we? Because we have a short amount of time to get it done. So we have to get started right away. That's right. Good. Okay, let's get started. The Wednesday Surprise by Eve Bunting. Now, if you like this book, you can find other books by this author in the B's in the library in this section. Okay. I like surprises, but the one Grandma and I are planning for Dad's birthday is the best surprise of all. We work on it Wednesday nights. On Wednesdays, Mom has to stay late at the office, and my brother Sam goes to basketball practice at the Y. That's when Grandma rides the bus across town to stay with me. So what's the initiating event? What's the action there that gets the story started? Hey, what do you think? Dylan?
They're going to get a surprise for their dad.
They're planning a surprise. What gets that started? What event actually starts the story? Catherine?
I think they're going to make a cake.
Oh, maybe that's a good prediction. But what did we just read about on this page that gets the story moving?
Surprises.
It is going to be about surprises. Maybe that's what we've predicted, Damien. It's his birthday. Grandma is getting, where is she going?
To their house.
To their house. How is she going to get there? By the bus, that's right. So that is the event. That's the initiating event that gets the story started, isn't it? Let's find out. I watch for Grandma from the window, and I blow on the glass to make breath pictures while I wait. When I see her, I call, "Sam, she's here." And he says it's okay to run down the long stairs and wait by the door. "Grandma," I call. Have you ever done that?
Yeah.
It's fun, isn't it?
Uh-huh.
Till Mom catches it. "Anna," she's hurrying, her big cloth bag bumping against her legs. We meet and hug, and she tells me how much I've grown since last week, and I tell her how much she's grown too. It's our little joke. Between us, we carry her lumpy bag upstairs. I show Grandma my breath picture if it's still there. Mostly she knows what it is. Mostly she's the only one that does. So who do we find out? Who are the characters in this story here? Rain?
Grandma and the little girl.
Grandma and the little girl. On Wednesday nights, we have hot dogs. "Have you heard from your dad?" Grandma asks Sam. "He'll be back Saturday, same as always," Sam says, "in time for his birthday." "Ah, his birthday?" Grandma raises her eyebrows, as if she'd forgotten all about that. Grandma is some actress. When Sam goes, she and I do the dishes, and then we get down to business. There's that expression, isn't it? So Grandma says to Anna, "Anna, what do you think? Was it a good surprise?" I run to her and she puts her cheek against mine. "The best ever," I say. Isn't that a great story? Isn't that wonderful about how Grandma learned to read? What I want you to do right now, I want you to turn to your shoulder partner. And I want you to discuss, right, I'll let you turn and then I'll tell you. Okay? Try to get, that's a little bit, there you go. Knee to knee, eye to eye. There we go. Here's what I want you to talk about with your partner. For just a few seconds, I want you to talk with your partner. Why do you think Grandma never learned to read? Okay? All right, talk with your partner. Today, in order to help us understand the story better, we're going to work on this graphic organizer called the Goal Structure Map. Now, I want to get started. Remember, with the Goal Structure Map, we list our two main characters first. Who's the first character that comes into the story? Okay, Maddie. And even before Anna comes into the story, who do we read about very first in the story? Not Dad hasn't come yet. Grandma. Remember the very first picture? What's Grandma doing? Sitting on the bench at the bus stop. So Grandma is one of our main characters in this story. And who's our other main character in this story that we read about? Tayton. Anna. Good. So we're going to put her name over here. And now let's draw our line. How are they related, Christian? They're family members. That's right. They're family members. Okay, now Grandma, let's talk about Grandma first. Remember at the end of the story when everybody finds out that Grandma learns how to read and Grandma says, "Well, you all told me to take classes, but Grandma didn't want to take classes, okay? She wanted to learn to do what? What's Grandma's goal? She wanted to learn how to read. Grandma wanted to learn to read, but she didn't want to take classes. She did not want to take classes. So what did she do? What did she do?
Anna.
She asked Anna. That was her first attempt. She asked Anna to help her. All right? Now let's go over here to Anna then. What is Anna's goal then? That causes Anna to have a goal, doesn't it? What is Anna's goal then in the story? What was that?
To help her grandma
how to learn how to read.
Right, to teach Grandma to learn to read. That's right, to teach Grandma to read. All right, so Grandma asks Anna if she can teach her to learn to read. So what does Anna do? What's the first thing that Anna does? Oh yeah, Grandma, we can do that on, what do you think, Taylor? So she invites Grandma over, right? Right, Austin? She invites Grandma to come over on Wednesdays, doesn't she? She invites Grandma to come on Wednesdays. Okay, so now let's go back over here to Anna. Anna's goal was to teach Grandma to read. She invited Grandma to come every Wednesday. They practiced their reading. Did she meet her goal? Yes. She helped Grandma learn to read too. Now I want to add one thing up here. Grandma and Anna also both had another goal. And what was that? That they wanted to, Aaliyah.
Keep it a secret.
That's right. They wanted to keep the secret. Now, how did they do that? What did they do to keep it a secret? What did they do? Zach?
They pretended like they forgot.
That's right. They pretended. They pretended all through. You know, every time Mom said something about the birthday party, oh, yeah, the birthday party. So they pretended that they had forgotten. So all the way through, nobody let the cat out of the bag, did they? There's another one of those expressions that I like. Nobody let the cat out of the bag. So did they reach their goal?
Yes.
Yes, they reached their goal. Now, we need to draw our lines so we can see how the story fits together. Okay, what caused something else to happen? Grandma wanted to learn to read. And she asked Anna, right? Okay, she asked Anna. Anna decides that she wants to teach Grandma to read. So she invites Grandma to come. And what does that cause Grandma to do? Oh, yeah, even before that, before Grandma can have homework, what did she have to do first? She had to, and when did she practice? That's right. She came over every Wednesday. She rode the bus. Because Anna invited her, it caused Grandma to come over every day on the bus. Okay? And so that caused this to happen. Now then, Anna was teaching her to read. And you know, because we have homework too, because the more you read,
The more you get.
that's right, the better you get. And so Anna gave Grandma, that's right, she gave her the lessons. And then what did that cause Grandma to do? She took the books home and she practiced. And so they practiced there, and then Grandma took the books home and practiced too. All right. Now, let's think about this one. Grandma wanted to learn to read, so she asked Anna, and because she asked Anna, what did that cause Anna to say? Yes. And so Anna decided that she was going to teach Grandma to learn to read, didn't she? This is such a good way to help us remember and understand the story in order. And if we think about the goal structure map, it helps us to remember the goals of the characters, the things they did to meet their goals, and then the outcome of the story and how the story ended. At the end, Grandma had learned to read, didn't she? And her and Anna had both met their goals of surprising Dad at his birthday party, didn't he? Okay, now what we're going to do, I want to have you have a turn now to practice your retelling with your small group. Well, I started using goal structure mapping this year after I'd been to the academy. And I think that just having that visual representation of the characters and what their goal is and the attempts that they make in sequence to reach their goal has helped the kids be able to understand the flow of the story. And then as we draw the lines together at the end, it helps them to connect how events are related in the story. Therefore, when we go to do our retellings, in whole group, small group, or individually, they're able to reflect on that visual representation to help them get the story in order then. So it's helped a lot with their retelling, their understanding of the story.